Hello, it's your girl Black Light Freak Out. I wasn't sure if my microphone was on with my headsets, but I do believe everything is okay. This is the second video today. The first one is still uploading because I think that was over 2 hours, but this one's going to be real short. I had a brief conversation with somebody on my Facebook, someone who hasn't really been on Facebook a lot, and I haven't contacted them on the phone during quarantine. This was like my little French, my American French crew type person. A fellow actor who lived in Chicago with her boyfriend, and in the middle of quarantine, second or third week of April, her and her boyfriend had the bright idea to leave Chicago, stay temporary in Colorado to keep her brother company because, as a grown ass man, he was feeling lonely and hated to be alone. Really? Really? Most people, especially grown folks, live alone, and now you want company because there's a quarantine. I I don't understand it. Are people afraid to be by themselves? Does being by yourself that depressing? You don't like yourself enough to be by yourself? I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess if it wasn't for people working to get outside the house to distract them, I guess a lot of people hate themselves to the point that they're getting depressed. It takes a couple of weeks to get depressed because you're by yourself. Honey, the quarantine was the best thing for me. I enjoyed my alone time. I was like, I'll never have the opportunity in life to have the leisure of being at home, have the leisure, and it not be an excuse that you are a slacker or just don't want to work or whatever. Because I kept myself busy. I worked, I studied. So she left Chicago with her boyfriend, and eventually, I don't know what had happened in Colorado because a couple of weeks later, I saw her profile now lives in LA. So she said that she was going to stay in Colorado during the whole quarantine. I don't know what happened. He must have been annoying as hell for her and her boyfriend be like, "Look, we leaving Colorado. We're going to take this opportunity and just move to LA." Move to LA. He must have been goddamn annoying because you have to be an annoying person to where you hate spending time by yourself and you need other people in your life to be a distraction from you disliking yourself, that being alone is a hellhole. So she contacted me, and this is my French crew because her and two other people, we used to speak French. Only one person in our group still speaks fluent, well, not almost fluent French. And we had agreed 2 years ago that we were going to spend the summer in Nice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The summer in Paris. First, it was Paris because summertime in Paris is nice weather. I've been to Paris before, yada yada. So, one person had to leave Chicago to work on a film in LA. So, during the summertime, the following year. So, the Paris sojourn got delayed. And we were saying we can still go to France. We just might want to switch from Paris to Nice because in the winter time, since Nice is off the Mediterranean Sea, Nice will be temperate weather. I've been to Paris in the winter time. Paris in winter is no fun. It is the equivalent of going to Milwaukee or Minneapolis, and I've been to both of those cities in the wintertime. It is hell on earth. Hell on earth. I've been to Canada, but I haven't been I've been to Canada, but I haven't been in Canada in the wintertime, so I can't even imagine that crap. But Milwaukee and Minneapolis is cold enough that I want to experience. I will only go to Canada in the summertime. So we were like, well, I was like, let's not do Paris. Okay, your film thing has finished. Now it's summer's over. Can we do Nice because there's going to be nice weather in Nice. At least 50, 60 degrees. I'd rather deal with that than being in Paris in the wintertime. And then something else has happened and it got delayed. So our goal was to spend 3 months in France. I'm like, are we gonna make this happen? Not this year. Most definitely not this year. And since people have been moving from LA to Chicago, going back and forth, and one person have and another person have permanently, so-called permanently, moved from Chicago to LA in the last couple of months, I was like, if we're gonna do this together, I would prefer us to wait until this see where this pandemic is going. I'm not getting on a goddamn airplane flying cross over the goddamn Atlantic Ocean for several hours on a goddamn airplane to get sick. Okay? I'm not doing that. Let's see what happens with this pandemic and we can make a choice. Do we want to go to France? And I was like, look into Quebec. Maybe we don't have to go to France. If there's other places in the world where they speak French, you know. So let's see if we want to do Quebec or France. We'll we don't have to make a decision now. We got a couple of months. We're gonna wait until fall comes, early late summer, early fall. We're gonna see how this pandemic rides out. We all agreed that we don't like the climate of what's going on in the United States. We want to get away. We want to get away. 3 months, you can be in Europe for 3 months. After that, you have to get a visa. Canada, as an American, you can be there for 6 months, but after that point, you need to get a visa. Our goal was if we stay in France for 3 months, save enough money where we don't have to work and we don't have to get a visa. That's why it was 4 people. We planned to do this together. We can share an Airbnb. Don't have to worry about it. We have a nice leisure 3 month vacation. Um, Everyone has a different life plan right now. Of course, we're half-ass talking about things, but everything is up in the air. We don't know what we're gonna do. We're trying to see what the economy is gonna be like, but we all agree we don't like the climate in the United States. And I had to tell one of them, the fourth person, she's out of it, so it's just the three of us. And I was like, you know what? The United States is a glorified sweatshop company. I mean, not company, country. A glorified sweatshop country. The United States is the type of country where you try to make as much money you can in this country, but your goal is to get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, retire someplace else. You don't take this country seriously. You don't take the politics seriously. You don't have to. This country is only good for making money, and if you're smart enough where you know a language or two, where you could work abroad and live abroad, whether you want to be a resident in another country or actually give up your citizenship, your American citizenship, give that shit up. That's you are a highly intelligent person if you do that. And technically I'm kind of conflicted. I want to leave the United States, and maybe I will be happy to leave temporarily, aka sojourn abroad. And then there's a part of me is like, should I get a work visa and try to live abroad for a year or two and see if I want to come back? Or do I want to give up my American citizenship? I have no attachment to my family. My family are assholes. I don't like them at all. So, family cannot hold me back anymore from living abroad. I wanted to live abroad a long ass time ago, especially in Italy. It switched from Italy to France, Italy to France. Um, and I didn't do it because stuff in my family had happened where I was needed. Basically, people getting sick. I'm like executor of estate, and or they're in hospice care. Some of these older relatives got irresponsible children, whether they are um, basically my grandparents' siblings, which basically my mom's cousins, all irresponsible, just do nothing but drink, use drugs, go in and out of jail, can't keep a job because they're in and out of jail. And so they punk out when a parent dies or is going through the dying process. If they were irresponsible most of their life, why do you think they're going to be responsible if their parent is terminally ill? So I was called upon by my grandmother, my maternal grandmother mostly, to help take care of her siblings while they're dying and stuff. Because my grandmother's nieces and nephews ain't shit people. And then my mother kept having strokes while I was trying to plan to move to Italy. She kept having strokes, and that delayed that. Then more relatives start getting sick and dying off. So I stayed for family reasons, and I have huge regrets. I have huge regrets because in my mind right now, that shit wasn't worth it, especially me and the relatives. Me acting like a responsible family member wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it. Um, wasn't worth it. Ugh, regrets. But anyways, I remember when Trump got elected. Within a few months, I've known several people that had seceded and leaving the United States. There were people going to Costa Rica because Costa Rica is pretty cheap. If you are upper middle class person, you can. consider yourself a wealthy person, rich, a rich person down in Costa Rica. I've known people who've gone to Spain, especially some gay dudes I used to know went to Spain because Spain has like beaches, gay beaches, um, off the Mediterranean, and they love Spain because they feared what the atmosphere would be for like gay rights once Trump is in the office. So they left for Spain. I know some people who left for Portugal. Some people trying to check out Croatia. Some people going to Italy. Some people said they were going to Germany, back to Germany. The people who said they were going back to Germany, these were mostly Americans who served in the military in Germany. And they said they loved them some living in Germany, that they missed it, and they're trying to find ways to get back to Germany. A few people to London, although I wouldn't want to go to London. London is just as bad right now. Then England's just as bad right now with the stupidity with a lot of British folks in England, just as bad as Americans. And you know what? I've noticed this all my life. When America does stupid shit, people in the UK follow, except for like Republic of Ireland. The Scots, they try to not emulate the English, but the English, when English do stupid shit, then Americans copy. It goes back and forth. Americans and English folks, we influence each other in the worst ways. Worst ways. It is uncanny. I know some people who moved to New Zealand, some who said they're trying to go to Australia, many people hitting up South Korea and Japan. I know a few people who moved to Hong Kong. A lot of people I know have left the United States. And while during quarantine, excuse me, I just got back in the house with some pickup food from a restaurant, so I'm eating. Um, During quarantine, I was looking at videos of going to Japan. I've never been to Japan. I am dying to get my ass to Japan. However, the reality is I won't know Japanese anytime soon. But I am relearning French and Italian right now. I'm getting into it hardcore. Um, I am in the process of getting conversational tutors. That won't start until July. I'm still studying on my own and listening to a lot of. I've been listening to a lot of news on the coronavirus and politics and them discussing stuff in the United States because, well, I'm getting an ear, getting my brain to reacquaint itself with Spanish, not Spanish, Italian and French. But since I'm listening to a lot of channels on YouTube live streaming where they're talking about American politics or just talking about the coronavirus in general, it's like I can get the feel of what the heck they're talking about because I'm experiencing the stuff in real life. But right now, I'm like, you know what? I've been listening to so many live streaming on YouTube, especially on my cell phone, that I am so tired of my cell phone telling me that my data usage is yesterday. Yesterday my cell phone was like, Your data usage is used up. And I'm like, damn, I must be watching a lot of news and crap on YouTube for it to do that, because it is now the 22nd and I still got what, 9, 10 days left? Hold on. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 9 days left. That I got very little usage on my cell phone, where you know what happens when you use up your data. Your cell phone is just slow as hell. It takes a long ass time for a video to play because it's rendering. You can't use the internet part on your cell phone. And I was like, damn. So I was like, I'm not using my cell phone like that no more. I am just going to upload a whole bunch of Italian and French podcast apps, so I won't be using my data like that. So that's what I'm doing. And I was like, that's probably a good thing, because I don't have to depend on YouTube, where I can see news events on my timeline. Like, I don't give a shit what's going on politically or socially in the United States no more. It's just pure trash. Everyone is just full of shit. From politicians to regular people, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. Everyone's full of shit. Full of shit, doing dumb shit. Um I don't want to notice, I don't want to pay attention. My goal is to focus on my career goal and my finances. Until this pandemic is over with, I don't give a shit about nothing else. What the hell is going on? If it's not going to help me have a peaceful life and a good living, don't give no fucks. And then again, I'm like, I half ass feel like I'm American. I know I am an American. I was born in the United States. My family has been in this country, depending on what ethnicity. My family has been in this country for centuries. If you considering the Native American aspects, but then when we talk about my European side and my African side, okay, my folks has been in this country for a couple of 100 years. I can document, at least on my maternal side, not so much on my paternal, but my maternal side. I can document late 1700s, early 1800s, from Scottish, from Irish to French to Susu tribe in Guinea in Africa. I can trace all that shit. Maybe I got a little bit of English. Maybe I do. But I definitely know I got French, Irish, Scottish, Susu, Choctaw, Native American, Chickasaw, Native American, and Susu's a tribe that's like Guinea, Sierra Leone. I think Guinea is above or below Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone was one of the major countries that exported slaves out of Africa. I know all that crap. I know that the French dude entered the United States through Louisiana, and that's where he bought my grandmother's great great grandmother for a little sex slave, and that aspect. And I know all about the other shit. I don't. Whatever's. Whatever's. This country. I've been born and raised in the United States, and yet I don't really feel American at all, because I was partially raised abroad. When I was 8 years old, got my first passport. My mother married a Moroccan, so I stayed in Morocco for a while. Learned French because his family spoke French. Most educated people in Morocco speak French. It was easier for me to learn French than to speak Berber. He had family in Morocco and in France. So that's my French connection. Um used to play guitar and piano. My music teacher was an Italian American who could speak Italian. So that introduced me to Italian age 12, 12, 13, 12, 12, when I learned guitar at age 7 or 8 because my Moroccan stepfather gave me his guitar. It was a Spanish guitar. But the piano aspect, my music teacher taught me Italian when I learned how to play piano at age 12. And I went to study abroad all through high school. My high school taught Italian, and I took Italian for 4 years, and it gave me a scholarship where I studied Italian 4 years in college. Had a double major with art history because my Italian scholarship, since it paid for my education, why not get a major in another and a second thing? So I half ass feel like an American. I was mostly raised in the United States, but I feel like I'm a more of a worldly international person more than the average American. So I just cannot identify with the stupidity that goes on in this goddamn country. I can't bring down my intellect to think like the normal American who can't think at all. Americans have low IQs compared to Europeans, and depending on what part of Asia. In high school, my high school temporarily had an exchange student program with Japan. I thought many European exchange students were highly intelligent. Going to Europe and spending a couple of months in Europe in high school, I was like, damn, Americans are dumb. Uh, in Italy, they went to school six days out of the week, Monday through Friday, full class hours. Saturday, a little bit less so. They get out at noontime. And they go to high school for 5 years. So basically, once they finish high school, their education is the equivalent, high school education is the equivalent of a college education, like a bachelor's. Because in Italy, they don't do liberal education. When you go to high school in Italy, and probably other parts of Europe too, you go to school that specializes years early of what you want your college degree to be like. So in Italy, there's a science high school, there's a foreign language high school, there is a arts high school. So at age 13, 14, you have to determine already what do you want to be when you grow up, because that determines what type of high school you go to. In America, it's like, I just got time to goof off. I can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And when most American high schoolers graduate from high school, they still don't know what the fuck they want to do when they enter college. So, college, the first 2 years of college is some more liberal education bullshit. And then in your third year, that's when you specialize. Some real dumb shit. And I was like, damn, these European kids are fucking smart. But when I met the Japanese students, they were smart as hell. They were smarter than the European kids. And I was like, damn. I can't with this country. I knew I couldn't with this country at a young age. And me being black, I couldn't identify with the average black person because most American blacks have a very narrow minded life. They only know what's going on in their hood. I had an international bringing since age 8. I the news that we get in the United States about other country ain't what's really going on abroad. And to actually see that, to actually see that, for instance, I remember in the 80s when Ronald Reagan was president, and who was the president of the USSR? Gorbachev. I remember my grandmother loved watching the 700 Club. She was a Christian woman, as you want to say. She was watching these Christian shows talking about we need to get the Bible over in the USSR because they're not allowed to practice religion. They're anti-God over there. I met some Muslims who had studied in Russia, and they were like, "What are you talking about? We can go to the mosque in Russia. There's churches. People go to churches in Russia. Jews still practicing in Russia. Now, the only thing with Russia is there wasn't like a freedom of religion. Like you can go out and be an evangelical and just talk about your religion in person. It was like, bitch, you can practice your religion, but you need to keep hush hush. Religion is not an open practice. You take your ass to the church, to the mosque, or the synagogue. Keep your religious bullshit in there, but once you leave out, no, ma'am, we ain't talking about religion. We not promoting the shit. We're not. Hinduism is even practiced in the USSR, depending on where you're at. And I was like, really? Because what's going on in the United States all during the Ronald Reagan talking about, oh, they oppressing the Christians in the USSR. We need to stop this, and Gorbachev is a bad person. But talk to anybody who live in Russia, they will tell you people went to church, people went to the synagogue, people went to the mosque. Mm, It wasn't like if you went to church, the synagogue, or mosque, they were going to shoot you to death. It was just rigid. Religion was not like an open practice. You practice that crap in your house, or you go into a particular building and you keep it there. Like they say, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. What goes on with your religion, you don't bring that shit out to the public. That's the only thing. And I was like, damn. So the 700 Club is lying to people asking for donations so they can smuggle Bibles up into Russia. I mean, the USSR. just just stealing people's money. They were like, well, I guess so, because we're Muslim. We go to the mosque. We've been to the mosque up in Russia. I was like, okay, okay. So America News is on some bullshit, lying about what people do in other countries. Every time I took myself to France or Italy, it was a different type of news. Thank God my grandfather spoke Spanish. So in my grandparents' household, I would watch Telemundo and Univision, where they were reporting news way differently than what was going on with American English spoken news channels. So it's like I can't even identify with many American blacks. I know I'm black, but I just cannot. I'll I can say I am black, so I know of the black experience, but at the same time, I don't have the same mentality as the average Afro American. I'm not stuck on this whole racist things that's going on. Many of just complete bullshit stuff that I see blacks complain about racism is not really racism. Stuff that whites claim that blacks do is racist is not really. It's just the Americans are just so poisoned by their own thinking processes. My mother's ex-husband, who was Moroccan, he looked European. He looked like Julio Iglesias. Literally, Julio Iglesias without the dark suntan. All right? He called himself black. He called himself black because in his mind, black means you were from Africa. Well, Morocco is in the northern part of Africa. So when my mom told him to go to immigration and stuff like that so he can become a US citizen, he said some white woman gave him hell because he wrote down he was black, and she was like, "No, you're not black, you're white." And he says, "I'm not white. White means I'm European." And he says, "I'm not European. I am from Africa." And she was like, "Sir, you're white." And he says, "No, I'm not white. I'm black." And she would not allow him to get his papers in order until he marked off that he was white. Because to an American mind, looking white means you're white, but that's not how people identify themselves outside of the United States. When I was in Italy, I thought I was being made fun of because there was a dude he's Italian from Bari, and he told me he was black. And he says, "You're black? I'm black too." And he thought because I'm black, I'm from Africa. And I had to tell him, like, there's other black people around the world who it doesn't mean I may be of African descent, but I'm not African. I don't know. Back in them days, like late 80s, early 90s, there still was a lot of people that assumed if you're black, you must be from Africa. Like the United States don't got black people, Central and South America don't got black people. Now it's different because black folks have immigrated a lot in many parts of Europe. It just wasn't just Britain and France, but there was a lot of ignorance in many parts of Europe that, oh, you're black, so you must be from Africa. Not only that, but with a lot of Arabs too, and a lot of Asians too. I remember that. Um, and I thought he was making fun of me. And he was so, and I realized, okay, my mom had a lot of Muslim friends from all over the world, from Northern Africa, West Africa, many Arab countries, Pakistan, India, Malaysia. So I knew that there were a lot of Italians that lived in Libya, especially the northern part of Libya, like, and not only Libya but Tunisia too. So I'm thinking, okay, a lot of Libyans and Tunisians, they're like one fourth Italian or maybe half Italian and whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, I met a lot of Libyans in my life, and many Libyans look Southern Italian, Sicilian. They look like Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro. So even though I was in Bologna, dude's family was from Bari, Southern Italy, and they moved to Bologna. I'm thinking, okay, maybe since he says he's black and he's African too, and a lot of people, black means African. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's Libyan. And I was like, "Do you have family in Libya? Are you Libyan or something like that?" He was like, "No, I'm from Bari." But you keep saying you're black. I was like, "No, I'm from Africa. I'm from Bari." And I was like, "Why are you saying you black too?" And he was serious. He was serious. And I realized, okay, he's not fucking with me. You would be surprised how what you call Europeans, and you just assume an American concept that white equals European, and vice versa, that a lot of people identify with white and many people don't. And it gets me when I hear white nationalists, or especially American, going like, "Oh, Northern Africans are white." I'm like, take your white ass over to North Africa, bitch. See if they identify with you, cause they don't. They don't. They don't. Oh, Arabs are white. Oh, if Arabs are white, then why Arabs hate white people so much? Why do they hate Europeans? Why do they try to attack anybody of European descent if they're white too. It made me realize just because you have a certain skin color does not mean that people identify with you. Hell, many East Africans are dark, but they don't identify with American blacks. Not going to. They consider themselves Arabs, or depending where they're from, especially Ethiopian, they consider themselves Jews. Now, I heard some stories when a lot of Ethiopians went to move to Israel. A lot of Ashkenazi Jews, aka European Jews, Eastern European, they did not consider Ethiopians to be Jews. They weren't. They felt that they were better than the Ethiopians. They thought they were more Jewish than the Ethiopians, but that's neither here or there. That's between the Ethiopians and the Ashkenazis. However, a lot of East Africans don't consider themselves black, but they're the same skin color as the rest of Africa. They consider themselves Arab. Sudanese, Somalians. Do you see Sudanese, Somalians in the United States getting in line protesting with Black Lives Matter? They cannot give a fuck. So all this talk about whites versus black, I never I've been over that shit since a teenager. Since a teenager. Because this problem is only an American issue problem. Now I know the Black Lives Matter, they're trying to promote that crap up in Britain. Only reason that shit is passing over in Britain because there is a almost like a Bermuda Triangle between a lots of black British folks are from the Caribbean, and many Caribbean folks got family members in the United States and in the UK. So, if you are of Caribbean descent living in the UK, it's almost like you consider yourself partly American and then partly British at the same time. But then again, regardless of ethnicity, England influenced the United States and vice versa. So, the UK is a special case compared to the rest of Europe. But I know for sure many Africans, probably up in the UK, don't have the same experience, don't have the same identification as many of the Caribbean blacks in the UK. So I'm so sure the Black Lives Matter up in UK, up especially in London right now, is from the Caribbean blacks, not the Nigerians or the Senegalese or the people from Ghana living up in the UK. Mostly, most likely Afro Caribbean, either here or there. But I'm fucking over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. Don't care. Don't care because Americans like to bring up racism all the time, even with non-significant bullshit that ain't got nothing to do with race. It's just the issue with race is the greatest obsession ever in the United States. And many times I'm not participating in that conversation. It's very nonsensical to me. I am not participating in this conversation. They're going to be talking about race and racism in the next 500 years from now. It's a sick obsession that just ain't gonna die. And if you don't want to participate, then someone wants to accuse you of being a racist because you got better things to do than to have your whole life wrap around the issue of skin color. You got your. I'm like, goddamn. I don't have to put up with this bullshit while in Europe, and I don't have to put up with this bullshit. I haven't been in Africa in a while. I didn't have to put up with this bullshit in Africa. Many parts of Africa, they don't give a shit about your skin color. They really don't. Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, people are mixed. It's almost like saying Puerto Rican. Like there's light skinned Puerto Rican or so called white Puerto Rican. Then there's like your average mestizo Puerto Rican who's basically more Boricua. Borica means like indigenous Puerto Rican. You may have a little black in you. I mean, you may have a little white in you, but you mostly indigenous. Indigenous. You got more indigenous blood. Your ancestors came from the island than having European and then African. And then there's Puerto Ricans who are black. Puerto Ricans don't give a shit. They think of themselves as all one people. We're Puerto Rican. We're Boricua. Whether you got a little European or a lot, whether you got a little bit of African or a lot. Now, it's a different story when you talk about the Dominican Republic, the Dominicans and the Cubans. Man, you can be a dark skinned black Cuban. They still want to identify as white. They can do that crap in Florida. They can do that crap in Florida when they're safe and sound among themselves. But once they leave Florida, believe me, regular white folks ain't gonna treat them like they're white. They can do that crap. They can say they're white all they want down in Florida, but they ain't the truth. Wait till they leave Florida and go elsewhere in the United States. Let them Anglo Saxons and them Irish folks and anyone that fits the Anglo-Saxon category, they ain't gonna allow you to call yourself white outside of Florida. Good luck. Some people like to live in a dream world. Um, good luck. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm not participating. Unless me obsessing about racism, skin color, and all that stuff is putting money into my fucking bank account, bitch, I cannot give a rat's ass. I don't let color hold me back. Now, have I experienced racism? Yeah, I have. Everyone's going to experience that. It's the United States, to a certain degree. Um, I've seen counter racism, and some black person is gonna say there's no such thing as counter racism. But I have seen black folks be racist towards white folks too. Now, some black people go like, "There's that's not true because racism is a systematic." No, it ain't. Racism is racism. Racism is racism, whether it is systematic or not. I cannot. I cannot. If you're mad that a white person is talking shit about you as a black person, then how do you feel you can talk shit about a white person and think it's okay and it don't count? It's not the same thing. I don't understand why black folks call each other nigga. I really don't. And as a term of endearment, if it upsets you that a white person use the word nigga, it should upset you that black people are calling each other that as a term of endearment. I don't understand. See, this country is very stupid. I've been telling, I'm like, I've been talking to a lot of people personally that I know, and some people online, like randomly, occasionally on these YouTube videos where many Americans are talking about what it's like to live abroad, whether they're residents or actually gave up their American citizenship. And I've been watching videos of white people living abroad, Latinos living abroad, um, Asians to a certain extent going back to their home country, even though they're second to third generation Asian American. I've been watching a whole bunch of videos of Afro Americans living abroad, giving their experience. And so many people are so interested right now because they are so tired of the bullshit. They're so tired of the retardation of living in the United States. and they want to learn how to get the fuck out. And if you got the education and you have the willingness to learn another language, that's what people are doing. I got flagged last week because someone said they were tired of this black and white issue, tired of this Democrat versus Republican issue. And I said, I agree. I was like, Americans are stupid. They're the least intelligent people in the industrialized world. And it's sad. And I was like, I told them, I'm like, I'm watching a whole bunch of videos of Americans talking about how they left the United States and they have no regrets. And some of these videos could be a couple years ago, and some are very current. Some were made little bit prior to the lockdown in the United States. And they were like, seeing the bullshit going on, I'm so happy I quarantined. I was able to quarantine in Paris. I'm so happy. Yes, the death toll in Italy was bad, but I was so happy to be quarantined in Milan. I would prefer to be quarantined in Milan than be in the United States. I'm so happy that I am in South Korea, bitch. I am happy that I am in Japan. I am so happy I am in Germany, Portugal, Spain right now. I wouldn't come back to the United States for nothing in the fucking world. And it don't matter what ethnicity these people are. Some are white saying this, some are black saying this. They were like, I wouldn't come back to the United States for shit. And you know what? Someone flagged my Facebook post saying that I'm citing, what was it? Hate speech? Hate speech? I guess there was a motherfucker who felt some kind of way that their ass is so stupid. They probably couldn't probably live abroad even if they wanted to. And probably don't have the intelligence to learn a foreign language or don't have the confidence. Sometimes it's not about intelligence. Sometimes it's about confidence. You tell somebody can say, "Oh, I want to live in France." And I'm be like, "Why don't you? Why don't you?" Well, I don't want to learn French. Well, how can you live in France and not learn French? I don't want to try to learn French, but man, living in France, I would do anything to live in Paris. I always want to go to Paris, but I just don't want to do what it I need to do to make that shit happen. I had a discussion with somebody I remember on YouTube. This was late April, early May, and this woman said that she's never been to Japan. And this was in a Japanese video of somebody explaining the visa process to work in Japan. And she was like, God, I hate this country, meaning the United States. And she was like, Japan just seems like a place for a long time. She said for years, like I want to go to. And she said with this criminal activity in the United States, high crime rate, and the shit my children have to go to try to get an education, but their education is being interrupted by kids who are gangbangers and drug dealers, and they don't give a shit about their education. They're just in school because it's just mandatory. They're not studying. They interrupting the teacher all the goddamn time. And she was like, you work hard to try to find a neighborhood so your children can be safe, but in the United States in many urban areas, there's very few nice neighborhoods unless you are extremely rich, where you can afford to live in a nice neighborhood where you know you have a certain guarantee that your children, you don't have to worry about them. And she was like, but my husband doesn't want to make an effort to move abroad. And I had to tell her, you want to do this, right? Fuck your husband. If you got to get a divorce to make your dreams come true, to live in another country. You're not going to live your life dream, even though you have that burning passion to leave this country and to provide a better life for your children. And it takes less effort to do that in other countries. Now, some countries, like in like the Nordic countries, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, taxes are high. Americans are fucking complain how taxes are, but at least in those countries you can see where your taxes are going to. Great education, safe environment, great health care. Americans are paying lots of taxes, but we ain't seeing the result of where our tax money is benefiting us. Not at all. Not at all. I would rather pay a lot of taxes and see some benefit of that shit. And I was like, you're providing your children a great atmosphere of living, healthy living, safe living with less crime just because your husband is a dumbass and a lazy fuck and don't want to make the effort to try to learn Japanese with you. So if you give each other 3 to 4 years time to learn Japanese, to check out Japan, to save up money so you can move there with your children and have a better life, better quality of life, you're willing to stick with your dumb ass spouse and not do the best thing for you and your children. Being married to an idiot is far more important than having that great life. I was like, bitch, it's up to you to think about. I'm a stranger. You don't really know me. We're conversing on a comment section of a video on what it's like to live in Japan by somebody. I was like, you need to really think what is worth it in your life. Because, bitch, I was like, you can go to Japan and find you a new goddamn husband, bitch. Bitch. As the saying goes, there's other fish in the fucking sea, bitch. This man you married to now, he ain't the one and only dude you can get dick from, bitch. Go to Japan. You can find you an American living in Japan. If you're not into Japanese men, you may want to live in Japan, but doesn't mean you actually want to be with a Japanese person necessarily. I was like, go to Japan. There's lots of people of various ethnicities live in Japan. Or you can get yourself a Japanese husband. Girl, girl, think about it. Don't be no goddamn fool because you're trying to please another person who ain't shit, ain't worth nothing. You're struggling in this country, putting your children in danger. Shitty ass American education, living in high crime environment. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I talked to this person. This was late April, early May. I bet she had second thoughts when all that rioting went on. I bet she had second thoughts when her neighborhood, probably, I don't know where the hell she was from. I don't remember asking her where in the United States she was from. I'm sure she was from one of the major cities in the United States: Boston, Philly, New York, Chicago, Milwaukee, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Miami, LA, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland. She from somewhere. I bet after all them goddamn rioting went on and her neighborhood got looted, the grocery stores and the drugstores and shit burned down. I bet I bet she was contemplating divorcing her husband. She probably said, "Fuck this shit. I'm going to Japan, bitch." She probably told her husband, Whether you learn Japanese or not, bitch, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Now, the unfortunate thing is, if her husband doesn't want to go to Japan, the kids will have to stay in the United States with him. But then again, I didn't ask her how old her children were. I did not ask how old her children were. And I think by law, a child, it could vary from state to state, but I think a child has to be 12 or 13 years old to tell the court system which parent they would like to live with. So I don't know. Can a 12, 13-year old tell the court system, you know what, my mama's moving to Japan and I want to go with her. Fuck daddy. Can she get permission to take her children with her? I don't know. I know Halle Berry, when she married that French movie director, her ex wanted custody of the daughter, and she was like, "Oh hell no!" She wanted to take her daughter with her to France, and besides, she didn't want her ex to have custody because then Halle Berry would have to pay child support to her ex. He would be living off of her finances. So I would, if I was Halle Berry, I'd be like, you know what? I love you, little girl, but I'm moving to France where the quality of life is far better than living in Hollywood, bitch. Stay with daddy. Stay with daddy. I don't know. I don't know those situations. Thankfully, thank God I don't have children and I don't have a spouse. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. Especially since I'm no longer in contact with many of my family members. I am estranged, happily estranged from those fuckers. I have nothing to hold me back. I have nothing to hold me back. Absolutely nothing. I have no roots in this country. My only thing is, I'm a very flexible person, well traveled. I'm not going to say I've been everywhere in the world, but I've been to a lot of places. And I feel like as long as the country is industrialized, aka westernized, I can live anywhere. And I'm a type of person, I'll make the effort to learn the language. It's just right now, I have my own foreign language goals. I am part of the polyglot community. I'm trying to get Italian and French out the way, move on to Spanish next, then German, then Japanese. So I told my little French crew, I was like, we're gonna hold off and see what the hell this pandemic is doing. If we want to sojourn in Montreal or go to Paris or Nice, we got to get our French together. We got to get our French together. I would prefer Nice and or Montreal because both cities also speak Italian. In Montreal, French is the main language, English the second, Italian is the third spoken language because Montreal has a lot of Italians that moved from Italy after World War II. And I've been watching a lot of videos on Montreal. Only thing about it with Italian, many of the Italians come from like southern, the Italians in Canada were there in Montreal, come from southern Italy. I've been listening to Italians talk to each other. If they're not talking French, talk to each other in Italian. I can half-ass understand what they're saying. They're not speaking standard Italian. I only know standard Italian. Standard Italian is the Tuscan dialect. Um, they mostly speak standard Italian in Italy, except for families, depending on what region they're from, they may speak their dialect in the house. In France, especially Nice, the southern part of France used to be a colony of Italy. So Nice, all the way like Monaco, and then going over east, they speak Italian and French. Um, and then there's a dialect in that area where it's like half French, half Italian that they speak. I forgot the name of it, but not too many people speak that dialect. But I would prefer Nice because it's like killing two birds with one stone. I can get that French out the way, and I can get Italian out the way. The other two, one said they're half-ass interested in learning Italian. That's the person that speaks almost good, perfect French anyway. So the other person who grew up with French but haven't spoken it since high school or college, since coming to the United States with her family, she's not interested in Italian all that much. So I don't know if it's Nice or Paris. I was like, we don't have to make this decision. We just need to get our French together. And so I'm curating my life. I'm not watching any news. I'm not getting involved with any bullshit that's going on in this country. I'm only paying attention to my French and my Italian now in the next 12 months. Now, the next 12 months, and I'm saving my money. I'm saving my money. The other two, the one that moved from Chicago to LA, she got to decide. She got a boyfriend. She may be goofy enough to put her boyfriend first over having a 90-day experience sojourning in France or Montreal. And since she just moved to LA, I know that was some expense, you know, depleted in her finances. So she needs to build up her money. The other person is job hunting since there's nothing going on in the film industry. And this is the one that lived in Chicago and a couple years ago worked on a film in LA. There's nothing really going on. Won't be nothing really going on with the entertainment industry for a while. But trust and believe, we don't know how long this pandemic is gonna exist. If there's gonna be a vaccine, and I wouldn't be the first person to test that vaccine out. I'll wait a while. I'll wait a while because a lot of people got sick and died with the first SARS vaccine. They had to take that shit back to the lab and redo. The second vaccine was better. The first SARS vaccine ended a lot of people's lives. So you think I'm gonna rush and get a coronavirus vaccine? Nah, I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna observe that shit. I'm going to observe that shit. Just because there's a vaccine doesn't mean that it won't have complications, especially the first batch. And then we got two known strains going on. So which strain will that vaccine work on? Because there's a Chinese strain and the Italian strain. We don't even know. No one's discussing what type of strain we have in the United States. Is it the Italian strain or the Chinese strain? We don't even know. No one's talking about that. And then I'm gonna see if if there's gonna be a third strain that's gonna pop out of nowhere at the end of this year. And I suspect if it hasn't done it already. So Bill Gates is wasting his money, kind of, sort of. If we got all these strains going on, because there won't be a vaccine for all these strains. So you may get a vaccine for the first strain, but your life is still in danger. I'm going to call the Chinese strain the first strain. Your life's still going to be in danger if you come in contact with the Italian strain. And if there's going to be a third strain, your life is still in danger. I told everybody, let's play the idea of living abroad in our heads. We don't have to make no decisions on that real soon. What we need to do is get our foreign language skills up. That's what matters. Because what if we want to extend our stay, depending where we go, where we would have to get a work visa? Believe me, you ain't working unless you got the language down. So, honey bunnies, let's get our French up. Let's try to save as much money as possible. I'm throwing out stuff in my apartment. I'm doing the KonMari method of decluttering your home, throwing stuff out, donating, whatever hell you want to do with your stuff. I'm doing that stuff now. Now until the 4th of July, I've thrown out, if just look up the KonMari method. The first three things that you need to do is clothing first, then books second, and then paper. I'm working on books. I did clothing already. I did clothing already. I'm working on the books, and I'm doing little of the paper, even though I shouldn't be messing with the paper until I finish the book stuff. But, if I see paper and I know I won't be needing it, let me just throw the crap away. So I'm doing slash books paper right now, and I'm going to be doing that for the next 2 weeks. It's going to take me 2 weeks because it's just not my paper I've accumulated over decades. It's paper of deceased family members. When I was a Secretary of States and handling their personal business while they were on their deathbed, and I still got a lot of their bank statements, their bills, because I was paying their bills. I got a whole bunch of crap that I need to go through and throw it away. Baby, baby, I don't know what's gonna happen in the next 12 months, but whatever happens, I'm gonna be ready for it. I'm gonna be ready for it. I'm gonna be ready for it. If I gotta put my stuff in storage, I'm gonna own less stuff that I gonna get the smallest storage space possible just to hold my clothes, some jewelry, the books I want to keep, my paper information I want to keep, the last bit of my possessions. Honey, I really doubt I will have furniture in the end of 12 months. I really doubt it. I'm really doubting. I'm trying to see what my options are. The next 12 months, I'm not sure if I will be an American citizen or not. I don't know. I don't know. I'm keeping everything open. I'm keeping my options open. Right now, it's me building up my foreign language skills. So if I want to keep my option open and it's not about me sojourning in Europe or in Canada for 90 days, I can prepare to get a work visa. A work visa. And I'll stay there until I feel like the United States got its shit together for me to come back if I'm going to come back. Maybe I might come back to get my last possessions out of storage and get it shipped via cargo to wherever the hell I'm going to live at. Or if I'm in Canada, I just need to get a moving truck and let it be a company where it can go back and forth between Canada and the United States. But if I'm moving to Europe, I'm getting whatever little bit I own shipped over via cargo. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do, but I know I can't stand this fucking country anymore. I cannot. United States is a country to make money, not to live. Make money, not to live. Not to live. You may have to stay here a little while to make that money, but your goal is to make money and get the fuck out at a certain period of time. The United States is a glorified, I would say this again before I get the hell off. United States is a glorified sweatshop company. I mean, country. I don't know why I keep saying company. A sweatshop country where you work hard for a living, but you acquire little in order to have a good life, a decent quality of life. Anybody in their right mind don't want to spend their whole life working hard, tolerating the bullshit of corporate America and the bullshit of other Americans. Other Americans. Bitch, people want to complain about the police all fucking day, just nonsensical. But after the rioting, do you want to be surrounded by people who think it's normal and it's okay and they try to justify looting, going to people's businesses, stealing their products, stealing the cash register, trying to blow up their safe, try to blow up ATM machines, steal from the grocery stores, the liquor stores? Bitch, the US citizens is just as bad as the fucking police. In my opinion, both are dumb. Both are dumb, both are trash. I do you want to work hard for the rest of your life to tolerate that type of bullshit of stupidity that's runs rampant in this goddamn country? Whomever that asshole was that tried to get my post flagged, well, they did get my post flagged by Facebook talking about I'm participating in hate speech because I say Americans are stupid, and anyone who's smart with high intelligence will take on the opportunity to live abroad. Probably some idiot that don't have the confidence to live abroad and definitely don't have the confidence nor the willingness to learn another language where they could live abroad, could live in a better environment. And so their ass is just fucking miserable. Crab in the barrel type mentality where, "Yeah, well, I don't like what you said, so I'm gonna flag your post because you know what, I'm fucking miserable and I don't got no options in life." That type of motherfucker. Optionless ding dongs. I can't with it. I cannot. And I count my blessings. I've been watching so many videos on YouTube of people talking about they hate this country so much they wish they can get the fuck out. If it wasn't for their family, their partner, their spouse being fucking lazy and don't want to make the attempt to have a better life somewhere else, they're stuck here. And I am so blessed that I am single. I am single. I have no husband to consider his feelings, his desires. I don't have any children to financially hold me back to making my dreams come true. Thank God I'm estranged from my family so they can't guilt trip me. They've been trying to guilt trip me for years while I was attempting to move to Europe. They'd be like, "What about me? I'm sick. I'm sick. I got no one to take care of me." I'm like, "You got all these nieces and nephews. I am not your child. You are not my parent. But please stay here. Everyone's so irresponsible. I need you to take care of me. Please don't go. I can't believe you're trying to move outside the country." While I was like, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. It is not my role and responsibility to take care of every elderly person in my goddamn family. I am not your child. You are not my mommy and daddy. You are my uncle, my aunt. You got children. I'm so sorry you didn't raise your children right. Where they're a bunch of dumbasses and you're sick and they're not really taking care of you. They're leaving you stranded and you think it's my responsibility? I'm your niece or I'm your grand niece, meaning the sibling of my grandparents. So I just said that's a grand niece. I'm not your responsibility. You got nieces and nephews. I'm the grand niece. Grand niece. You're my grandparent sibling. I'm less responsible for you. I feel sorry for you, but I'm not going to continue to not live my life so I can babysit your life because the people near you are so fucking irresponsible. I cannot continue to do this shit. No, 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 no. No, you're not my responsibility. I can't be, because my family is fucking fools and they're idiots. I cannot be the sole person that people look to for me to take care of in their elderly years. Not happening. Not happening. Not happening. Not doing that shit no more. I did it with my grandma. She's the only elderly person I felt responsible for. I half-ass feel responsible for her brother. But when everybody else decided, oh, Mina is taking care of him, we don't got to do shit. I was like, nope, I'm not taking care of your ass. You better start calling your nieces and nephews. You're my grandmother's brother, and thank God he passed away a couple of weeks ago. Nah, it's not my responsibility. And then when he passed away, I know he got health insurance. I mean, not health insurance, life insurance. Because before the whole family put him into a senior home, I was paying for his life insurance. And I was paying for his life insurance. I was helping him out. This is a couple years ago. And they had the nerve, the motherfuckers who never call me to see how I'm doing, had the nerve to call me up talk about, oh, we need to help with we need you to help with the funeral costs. And I was like, no, we ain't. I know this fool had burial insurance because sometimes I help him pay for it. I volunteered to write a check, do a money order, and send it off. Nah, nah, we ain't playing them games. We ain't playing the games because somebody else in the family is the sole caretaker and you trying to keep all the money as possible and you gonna call me up to help with some funeral arrangements. Oh no, no, we ain't doing that shit. Bye. Bye. And everyone stop talking to me when they know Amina ain't forking over her goddamn money to nobody. And we sure ain't. We sure ain't. Me, myself, and I, bitch. That's the only person I care about. And that includes my funds, bitch. No, my funds I'm gonna save so I can live abroad, bitch, and have a good life. While you fuckers do whatever the fuck y'all gonna do in the United States. That ain't my problem. What happens with y'all lives? I'm not doing this shit no more. Good luck and have a great life, bitches. Every man for himself. Thank God I don't have a husband and children to hold me back in life right about now. I got no one to consider. I got no one to consider. Amina is a mercenary. I do whatever the fuck I want to do and how I want to do it. I got no feelings to consider. My finances, no one has the ability to consider my finances for a goddamn thing. Don't look towards me for a goddamn thing. I'm not taking care of you. I'm not feeding you. I'm not helping you pay no bills, no utilities. I'm not helping you go through college. I am not paying for your senior citizen homes. I'm not paying for your car insurance, your life insurance, your burial insurance. Don't look at me. Don't look at me, bitch. Don't look at me. I'm not playing. Fuck these fuckers. I am not playing. Amina is solo dolo, bitch. That's my first name. So be it. I am solo dolo. I am solo dolo. Me, myself, and I. Okay. All right. 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 Everyone on my Facebook is being unfollowed. Unless you're smart enough, intelligent enough to navigate through this world, be an international type of person. You don't need to be socializing with me. I'm getting a lot of people off my Facebook. I'm tired of socializing people because I'm just being nice. There's a lot of nice people in this world that don't have potential to do nothing. That's all they got going for them. Nice. Not to say I want to hang around evil assholes. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying, for you to be in my life, you have to provide my life with something. I know I can provide you with something. I got skills to trade off. Question is, do you have skills that I want for you to be up in my life? I don't need another person in my life who's a musician, who's an actor, who's working film. I don't music industry. I don't need none of that shit. None of that shit. None. That shit is unimportant to me. Do you speak another foreign language? Can you do international business? Can you work abroad, bitch? I don't. You can. I don't even care if you work in medicine or law. Are you an international type of person? If you're not an international type of person, I cannot relate to you. I just cannot relate to you. And I only want people who can give me them foreign language skills. You don't got them foreign language skills, you're not important to me. I want foreign language skills. Can you help me speak better Italian? Can you help me speak better French? When it's time for me to learn Spanish, can you help me speak Spanish? If I want to learn German, can you help me speak German and Japanese in the future? You can't do none of them things. You are highly unimportant to me. You are highly unimportant to me. Don't want to be talking to you. Don't want to be socializing. I don't give a fuck that you can play the guitar, the keyboard, the clarinet, the drums, all at once. I don't give a fuck if you a B-list, no, sorry, C-list celebrity actor or you an A-list. Can you speak a foreign language? Can you speak a foreign language? The only person I want to know right now is Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow can speak fluent French and fluent Spanish. If you can only speak English, please don't come to me. Don't talk to me. You are highly uninteresting. You are highly interested. I don't give a shit if you work for a Fortune 500, bitch. I don't give a fuck. If English is the only language you know, you are dumb as hell. At least speak. I'm not even requesting you to speak fluently, almost like a native. Speak some half-ass. Speak some half-ass something. I don't get the time. I don't got the time. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Last night, I spent 30 to 45 minutes deleting a lot of people's telephone numbers off of my cell phone. Telephone numbers and emails. I was like, this person can't help me in life. This person can't help me in life. This person can't help me in life. I don't need another musician in my life. I don't need another actor in my life. I don't need another camera person, production assistant in my life. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. I don't give a fuck how much money you make. I know a lot of people who ain't making much money being an artiste, and I know some people who make good money being an artiste. But still, I just don't need people up in my face. Up in my face. I used to keep people around calling it networking. I cannot give a shit about networking, just keeping people on my goddamn telephone or my Facebook unnecessarily just because they got a fucking job. Just because we all got jobs, don't we? We all got jobs, don't we? That's what, if you call yourself a decent person, you should be having a job. There's nothing special about you having a fucking job. That's just basic life stuff that should be going on. There's nothing special about you having a goddamn job. I mean, people having jobs and certain type of jobs with certain type of titles used to impress me when I was younger. But I'm like, you know what? We all got fucking jobs. Whether your job you make minimum wage or whether you make your yearly salary is in the is 500,000 to $1 million a year. So fucking what? We all got fucking jobs. I cannot give a fuck. But outside of that, what skills you got, bitch? Do you got some foreign language skills? Can you do some international something something? If you can't, I'm not interested in your ass. Nah, nah. Part of my friendship being with you, if we ain't practicing another language and if we're speaking in English all the goddamn time, I don't need you in my life, bitch. I just don't. Bye. I'm deleting your number off of my goddamn cell phone. And I'm getting your ass off of my Facebook. I'm getting you off. Mm. So I'm waiting. I'm not even focused on these girls. Not girls. I mean, but there's some of them around my age, and there's one because a couple, 10 years younger. I'm gonna see what they're gonna do by the end of this year. There's only 6 months left in this year. I'm gonna see. Right now, I'm just focusing on me, moi, EO. That's all I'm concerned about. I'm gonna see in a couple of months when I try to speak French with you. Have you gotten your French up? And then you don't even have to be fluent. I'm just gonna. You better. When I ask you ça va, you better have a response to that. Je suis boeuf. I'm so. Je suis boeuf boeuf. I'm so so. You know what I'm saying? Sto bene. Something. You better tell me something. There better be a response. Don't be like, oh, I didn't keep up with my French. I know we said in the summertime we would, but I haven't had the time. I just haven't focused. Nope. By the end of this year, I know I'm gonna get my practice up. If these hoes don't get their French up, I'm like, you know what? I guess I'm gonna be solo dolo doing whatever the hell I'm gonna do. Go to Canada, Quebec, or go to France. You are no longer a consideration with my plan to leave the United States. No longer. Because a lot of people talk the game, but they don't walk. They don't walk. They talk, but they don't walk. And I'm tired of that shit too. The older I get, I want to see some fucking results. Not people keep on saying what they're going to do, but they don't do it. People love to talk that big game, but they haven't made an effort to start the game. They haven't touched the controller button to start. But they already talking like they did a KO, a knockout. Bitch, you ain't doing no knockouts. You didn't even turn on the you did not turn on the goddamn control. You didn't even turn on the on switch to the console. Talk about you did a knockout and you on level 5 of Mortal Kombat, bitch. You didn't even start level 1. I don't got time for it. Amina's not into people's bullshit anymore. She's not. Black Light Freak Out is over it. Black Light Freak Out is over it. Mm. And if these heifers don't get their French up by the end of this year, I'm deleting their asses off of my goddamn Facebook and off of my goddamn cell phone. I'm not playing. I am not playing. So I'm giving everybody 6 months. 6 months around Christmas time. We better be speaking some moderate, intermediate type of French by Christmas time. Some B1. I'm not even expecting anyone to get to B2, but at least some B1. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, that's the European grade level of the type of level French, or not French, but any foreign language. A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1, C2. That's speaking almost like a native in a foreign language. I'm not even wanting you to get to B2. Just least B1. B1 and conversational. Mm. I'm getting the hell off. I'm getting the hell off. I'm optimistic, but at the same time, I had a lot of people in my life who wasted my fucking time, and I'm skeptical. Skeptical at this moment. I'm being very jaded. I'm like, is these bitches wasting my time or not? I don't know. I don't know. But I know one thing. When I can determine what's going on in the United States and with the international laws in regards to the travel ban and all this stuff, I'm going to see. I'm paying very close attention to my options in life. I'm paying very close attention to my options in life. And I'm going to be willing and dealing. Willing, wheeling and dealing. Mm. So I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off. Um, at least one of them contacted me today and we had a little talk. And I got to see if she's going to walk that talk. But regardless, I'm kind of slightly amped up. I'm like, for me to make this happen, I got to sacrifice some unnecessary things out of my life, which I'm going to do. I'm no longer entertaining a lot of stuff. I'm keeping my eyes on the prize. I'm hardcore now, very hardcore. Um, and that's that. That's that. Because I can't stand this country. This country is full of shit, and I just can't stand it. It's aggravating my soul to be here. So for me to change my situation, just stuff I need to do, and I need to prioritize in my life to make crap happen because I need to get the fuck out of this goddamn country, and that's that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Everyone have a good one. A good one. And you need to think about, or maybe you don't. I don't give a fuck about you. I only give a fuck about me. But if you love yourself, you need to think about where you want your life to be in the next 12 months. Because the climate in this country, it ain't looking good. And it won't be worth living in this country and calling yourself an American. There's no worth. There's no value being an American. There really is none. So, if you're very smart and highly intelligent, you need to make considerations to live elsewhere and to work elsewhere. This country is a third world country still living a westernized, industrialized lifestyle. Americans from the I'll say this and I'll get the fuck off. Americans are really third world people trying to live a industrialized lifestyle. United States is a glorified third world country. It really is. The United States is a glorified third world country. And that's all I'm going to say. Bye. Have a good one.